Okay, guys. So I just wanted to go over the pros and cons of tarot cards and reading tarot cards. I think a lot of people have, different perspectives. Some people think it might be helpful. Some people think it might not. I personally am a fan of tarot cards, especially if I read them for myself and other people that I care about. And if you get one for me, that probably means that I care about you to some extent, or you've helped me with something, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do the tarot cards. It takes me maybe like 20 to 30 minutes to do a single reading. And the reason for that is actually because I do like a certain layout that's called Anansi's Web, and it kind of looks like this. There are, I believe, 10 cards in total laid out after shuffling, and then the location of each card carries significance. The illustration on each card carries significance as it's attached to its meaning assigned to it by the designer of the deck. So I just think that if someone does a tarot card reading for you, that means they really care about you, or they have a lot of free time. So that's one thing. At least, that's in my opinion. I think there are simpler configurations, like 3 cards. There are ones that don't take as long, but to do like a full reading can take quite some time. I know other people who do readings, they might do it differently, but that's how I do it. So now let's get into the pros and cons. So the pros are, you're curious. If you're doing this, that means you're curious, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think more people should be curious, honestly. Not for concrete answers, but just for signs and introspection, and not just like any signs, not just like they're leaving their fate up to the wind, but they're willing to kind of dig deeper. And I think that's the kind of introspective curiosity that our world could really benefit from having a little bit more of. And then another pro, I guess, would have to be you're kind of humble, because if you're going to play with a bunch of cards and see what story they tell, that takes some humility, because a lot of people like to think that they control everything in their lives, and if they don't, then they should, and they should not be relying on cards. And I'm not saying you have to rely on it, but they shouldn't even look to that. They shouldn't even entertain that idea, because how silly, right? So I think people who are interested in tarot cards and other methods of divination, I think those people are probably a little bit more humble than the average person. In the right ways, I think. Unless there's someone who's like, all of my readings are completely accurate. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that. It's honestly kind of hard to say that, because if you're showing it to other people, they're going to say yes or no. They're going to say, I vibe with this, or they're going to say, I do not understand what this is. This seems totally inaccurate. And like, that's a humbling experience. So if you do this for a while, you will probably run into that. Okay, so let's see. I wonder if there are any more pros, or if I should just jump right into the cons. I guess a third pro would be, it's a great opportunity to kind of document where you are in your life. I keep a long document. I have about 23 pages now of tarot card readings that I've done for myself and others. And one thing that I like about having this long document is I can just go back and read when I did for myself like a year ago, and it literally can bring me back to that time. So it's almost just like, for some people photography is a hobby, for other people journaling. I love journaling. I also like doing this, and I think this is almost like a form of journaling for me, so that can be pretty helpful, I think. So that's definitely another pro. It's just you're documenting important pieces of your life, and it's kind of helping you organize things in your head and put everything in perspective. At least that's what it's like for me, because I only do a reading for myself like every few months, but when I do it, I'm just like, yes, like this is my time to just take a step back, relax, rewind, pause, reflect, contemplate, be mindful. It's just like one of those moments. It's just good to have those moments. Those can literally look like anything. Some people like to color in a coloring book. Some people like to take a walk, look at a really tall tree in their backyard. You have to have some sort of moment like that in your life, at least once a week, because if you're not, you're probably on autopilot, and you're probably like a zombie, and you're probably not living your life to the fullest. At least that's just my opinion. So those are the pros. I'm now going to get into the cons. The cons, okay, one thing is people can get really stressed and scared about a reading that they may interpret as negative. I imagine that this is the key. I've talked to people, I've asked people, do you want me to do a reading for you? And they're like, no, because I'd rather not know. I'd rather not even risk getting a bad reading. So this is a completely valid concern. It can stop people from participating altogether. It can be scary. It can be scary if you suspend your disbelief only to get something that you don't want to hear, you don't want to see, you don't want to acknowledge. I mean, it can't bother you if you don't give it some merit, right? Like if you completely dismiss it and you get a negative reading from someone, you can just laugh it off. But if part of you believes in it and you get something bad, you might be like, oh my god, you know? So that's one thing, I think, getting like thrown off or like scared by a reading. I think another con could just be like over-relying on it. Obviously you can't over-rely on it. Like tarot cards, it's like flipping a coin. It's like, should I go get ice cream right now? You know, I'll do it if I get heads, and you flip a coin, right? Because heads are more likely to pop up. And that's basically what this is. Okay, I think my brother's walking by. Sorry for the noise interruption. But yeah, so I would say number 2 con, over-relying on it, taking it so seriously, almost using it as an excuse to not take action in other areas of your life. Why would you do that? I don't know, but some people might. I do a lot of readings. I just did a reading for myself, and one of my main flaws right now is I can easily kind of lapse into laziness. Because I think what happens for me is I get very fired up about something and I get burned out, and then I become apathetic, and so that's a pattern that I don't really want to repeat too many more times. But that's kind of who I am. I'm very fiery. I'm at a fiery stage of my life, and I need to find kind of like a steady pace to like move towards my goals and my dreams. And I just read a book called Be Water, My Friend by Bruce Lee. Shout out to Shannon Lee. I actually got to meet her and talk to her on a podcast episode, and I would say that that book is really insightful. If you're a fiery person, if you have a lot of ambition, if you feel rising potential within yourself, if you've ever gone through a hard time where things got a little bit confusing and your values were challenged, read that book. Because Bruce Lee wasn't just a martial artist, he was also a philosopher. And I think her work is really helping to bring awareness to that fact. And a lot of his work, he wrote a lot, like it's actually incredible. So I would definitely check that out. So I guess, like for example, that's something that I take from my readings, and I'm like, I kind of see this in myself. I kind of resonate with it. It seems pretty accurate. You can always, interpret it literally however you want. And I think that's like a cool thing about reading tarot is if you do it for yourself, you can literally just write down whatever you want. Like you could see a card and be like, you're gonna be poor tomorrow, and you'd be like, oh, I think that's just a metaphor for like, I'm gonna like lose a nickel tomorrow. Like you can interpret it how you want to interpret it. Like don't get me wrong, there's no scientific basis to any of this. So that's I guess that would be another pro. That's like maybe the 4th pro. Okay, let's see. I guess the 2 cons have been like 1, like getting scared of it, 2, over-relying on it. I'm trying to think if there are any other cons that I would like really want to mention. I think the 3rd would just have to be, it separates people, because people can argue about it, people can be like, oh my gosh, you believe in that? We can't be friends. I think just the power it has to separate people, to kind of throw people off, turn people away, that's obviously not a good thing. I think everyone should be able to do what they feel is appropriate for themselves and not force it on anyone else. So yeah, if it becomes something like that, where one person is forcing it on another, or one person is judging someone else for doing it, I think it can be maybe an issue. And I did 4 pros, so I'm trying to think if there's a fourth con. I guess also just thinking it's the entire picture when it's totally not. Every moment is an opportunity to be tuned in, to tap into your intuition, using a single reading and feeling that you have to live by it for 3 months. No. Things can change very quickly. My advice would be to just take the insight and just keep it moving. Do not treat it like the Bible. Do not treat it like it was set in stone, like it was literally, you know, like it's never going to change. Things change. And I would say just having a healthy understanding of that, and just not thinking it's the whole picture. I think this kind of ties into the not like being over reliant on it, but it's like take it for what it is. So I guess maybe that's the same thing. That's like maybe another warning of that, against like just putting it up on a pedestal or something because you did it yourself, or because a really good tarot card reader did it. That means it's got to be the end all be all. And I don't think that's the case. I think things can change very quickly. So that would be my brief introduction to tarot cards, what I think of them, and their pros and cons. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to probably upload this soon. I haven't uploaded to YouTube in like 5 years or 6 years, but I thought this might be interesting. And my friend recently told me that I should start a YouTube channel, or actually that we should start a YouTube channel where it's like a cooking show. It's like a cook-off. And like we have the panel of judges. They all have the same name. So like one, for example, it would just be like all guys named Jake, or like one episode it could be like all girls named Melissa. Because for some reason I have a lot of friends named Melissa, so we could totally do that in the future. But I thought that was just a really awesome idea, and I was like, and while I'm at it, I should just go ahead and upload a video right now from my computer with this really bad camera quality, because why not? It's like past golden hour, it's almost dark outside, but felt like why not? I have my little sunset lamp that you can't see, but that's okay. So I feel pretty complete about this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I'd love to discuss this further. I'm very new to the world of tarot card reading, fairly new to meditation and everything like that too, like doing that consistently at least. So I would like to hear from people, and just, you know, hear from like-minded folks and non-like-minded folks. You know, what's your opinion on tarot cards? Did you have a crazy experience? Was there one that was like super accurate? I would love to hear from y'all. So please leave me a comment. Please leave me a like if the spirit so moves you. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.